Continuing from the previous episode 1545. This fluctuation is. Xiaoyan and the two closed their eyes to practice, but they were instantly awakened by this strong fluctuation. Immediately, Xiaoyan stared at the light group in front of him, a trace of extremely destructive ice. Qi suddenly diffused from the light group. Big brother, what's going on? Xiao Gui was shocked when he heard the words, opened his eyes instantly, and hurriedly asked. Retreat, don't go over. Xiaoyan saw this, directly stopped Xiao Gui, and then the two of them stepped back at the same time. In a hurry, a jade bottle of quite good quality slowly emerged from Xiao Gui's body. Do immortal pill? Looking at the exquisite jade bottle in front of him, with Xiao Gui's cognition and memory, he naturally recognized the pill at a glance, and couldn't help but lose his voice. Put it away. This is the reward given to us by Di Lao, and it is best to use the 3-star Do Xian successfully. Xiaoyan said with a solemn expression. Xiao Gui put away the Dushan pill, and immediately focused on the light group in front of him. Big brother, is she all right? After a while, Xiao Gui, who had found nothing, could only ask. It's hard to say, but this extremely tyrannical ice-fighting qi really came from her, it's just. Xiaoyan urged the dazzling soul power to protect the two from the erosion of the extremely cold qi, so he hesitated. Just what? Xiao Gui's pupils shrank tightly and asked. It's just that this fighting spirit is not contained in the success of breaking through the 3-star fighting immortal. On the contrary, it is like breaking through the early stage of the 4-star fighting immortal and trying to enter the middle stage of the 4-star fighting immortal. After Xiaoyan finished speaking, his eyes became sharp. Obviously in this space, there are only 3 people, and now Xiaoyan and Xiao Gui are all here, so the source of this power is obviously only Luo Menglin. Impossible. She is only a complete 3-star fighting immortal. How could she try to break through the middle stage of a 4-star fighting immortal? Isn't this a clear statement of death? Xiao Gui exclaimed in shock. Xuanbing lotus seeds are invaluable, and one of them has the power to make a 3-star Do Xian perfect level powerhouse break through the shackles. If you take 5 of them together, trying to break through the middle stage of a 4-star Do Xian is not a bad idea. Xiaoyan said, but why did she take such a risk? Xiao Gui asked in a heart-pounding manner. Hey, this girl, I'm afraid she also has some hardships. Xiaoyan shook his head helplessly. It's not that Xiaoyan envies Xuanbing lotus seeds. After all, this thing is only useful for practitioners with the ice attribute. Therefore, even if it is swallowed by Xiaoyan, firewood attributes will not be of much use. Will cause backlash. Bang bang bang? In an instant, when Xiao Gui looked puzzled and painful, the icy light group dozens of meters away in front of the two suddenly burst open, and Luo Menglin's body was like a drizzle, powerless. Fall to the ground. 5 Zanbing lotus seeds are swallowed together. This guy. Xiaoyan saw a trace of blood on the corner of Luo Menglin's mouth, and even the breath in his body became completely disordered, and immediately shook his head and said, the 5 Zanbing lotus seeds were swallowed together. If successful, the girl's strength will skyrocket directly from 3-star Do Xian consummation to the middle stage of 4-star Do Xian, but now that she fails, her strength will probably stay at 3-star Do Xian consummation for a long time. Unless she takes a good pill, it will be difficult to survive diligent. Are you all right? Just as Luo Menglin collapsed weakly, Xiao Gui hurried forward and caught her. Big man. Luo Menglin struggled to open her eyes, then quietly stared at Xiao Gui, feeling powerless in her body, so she could only do this. Why do you do this? Xiao Gui gently hugged Luo Menglin. His body was shaking. She was a lively and cheerful girl just now, and she looked like this in just a few days. After discussing with the Master of Soul Li, a headmaster in the underground courtyard decided to give me to the talented disciple in the underground courtyard, but that guy, I have never met, and wants me to marry him. How can it be? And because I am the only female disciple under the 3 headmasters in the spiritual courtyard, I am attracted by that guy. It is said that the strength of that guy is a genuine 4-star Dushan perfection, even in the entire underground courtyard. A top-notch existence, even an existence that touches the realm with half a foot. Although I don't want to conform to their intentions like this, but my strength is too weak, the 3-star Do Xian is complete, and it is insignificant compared to that guy, so I can only take the risk and swallow the 5 mysterious ice lotus seeds. If I can break through the 4-star Xiaoshan in the midterm, I am afraid that the headmaster will also strongly reject this forced marriage. But I failed, but I don't want to just accept my fate. Luo Menglan spoke slowly, her voice was quite light, but it was filled with a stubbornness that is rare in a girl. Who is he? I'll kill him. Xiao Gui heard the words and looked at the man crying in his arms. Immediately, the sky filled with ghost energy, which completely enveloped the space. Calm me down. Xiao Yan was shocked when he saw this, and the dazzling soul power directly suppressed Xiao Gui's anger temporarily. Big brother, Xiao Gui said angrily, his eyes couldn't help turning red. I'm sorry. Seeing Xiao Gui's actions after a while, Luo Menglan's heart warmed, but now that his breakthrough has failed, his strength will probably only stop at Samsung Do Xian in the future. There is no escape. Is this thing useful? After a while, Xiao Gui took out an elixir from his arms and placed it directly in front of Luo Menglan, eagerly asking. This is fighting immortal pill? When Luo Menglan, who was a little weak, saw this, she was shocked and lost her voice. This is the Fighting Immortal Pill. 3-star Fighting Immortal completion powerhouse can use it to break through the 4-star Fighting Immortal. Although it can't help you too much, hee. Xiao Gui grinned and said with a rather honest smile. Thank you, big man, but this thing is too expensive for me to accept. I will keep this trip to Lingshan in my heart. If there is a chance in the future, I will definitely repay you. After Luo Menglan finished speaking, she directly stuffed the medicinal pill into Xiao Gui's arms. In the ghost world, and even in the entire Lishan territory, there are only a few pharmacists, so even Luo Menglan, the great-granddaughter of the head teacher, does not have a fighting fairy pill, which is enough to see that the pharmacist is in the rarity of ghosts. Gulagulu. After a while, Xiao Gui took out the jade bottle, and then took advantage of Luo Menglan's inattentiveness, and gently put the Do Xiandan into his mouth. Luo Menglan's body was a little weak, and she closed her eyes and rested in Xiao Gui's arms, feeling the slightest sense of reassurance, but she noticed that a mellow elixir slowly emerged from her mouth. It's useless for me to keep it, just absorb it. Xiao Gui smiled indifferently. Even if he lost the Dushan pill, it seemed that as long as he had this girl by his side, he would be quite happy. As for the guy who forced you to marry you, no matter how holy he is, I, Xiao Gui, will definitely wipe him out. In an instant, a terrifying ghost that couldn't speak suddenly spread out from Xiao Gui's body like a demon in the darkness. Exclamation mark. Continuing from the previous episode 1546. It seems that I don't need to intervene in the affairs of these two guys. Xiao Yan stood quietly and watched the two of them, obviously not intervening too much. Otherwise, with Xiao Yan's strength, it would definitely prevent Luo Menglan from failing to break through. It's just that all of this is for the sake of Xiao Gui's happiness, otherwise once Xiao Yan makes a move, I'm afraid there will be nothing to Xiao Gui. You. Seeing Xiao Gui's actions, Luo Menglan was obviously mixed, and couldn't help saying. She thought that Luo Menglan was like a little princess in the spiritual courtyard, but she had never seen a man like Xiao Gui who didn't covet treasures, and was even so kind to him, so he couldn't help feeling a little moved and grateful. Quickly absorb it. You have hurriedly swallowed 5 Xuanbing lotus seeds, which has already damaged the source. The energy in the Dushan pill is rich, which can not only help you recover your vitality, but also help you break through the 4-star Dushan initial stage. Xiao Gui, he smiled rather kindly. Even if he lost the Do Xiandan, it was a normal smile. Crash! In an instant, the Do Xiandan hidden in Luo Menglan's mouth slowly overflowed with pure energy, and immediately gathered towards Luo Menglan's body with all the limbs and bones. With such a majestic energy, Luo Menglan suddenly became weak. The breath and even the origin are slowly being repaired. Mother, maybe I understand now why you are willing to accompany your father to fall. Suddenly, the corners of Luo Menglan's eyes were also full of water, and a trace of tears quietly emerged. Wang Om! After a short while, Xiao Gui let Luo Menglan down, and Luo Menglan also began to absorb the immortal fighting pill. This time, everything was a matter of course, and it was only a matter of time before he was brave enough to break through the 4-star fighting immortal. Big brother, my Do Xiandan. Xiao Gui couldn't help coming to Xiao Yan's side after doing all this, touching his head and laughing. His voice was slightly embarrassed. That was originally yours, and your move has a good effect, hee. Xiaoyan's tyrannical soul force naturally noticed some subtle changes in Luo Menglin, and immediately laughed. Big brother, the guy who forced the marriage is also in the underground courtyard. If I go to the underground courtyard in the future, I may not keep my hand. I will use all my strength to obliterate him. After a while, Xiao Gui attached to Xiaoyan. He whispered. Obviously Luo Menglin's words just now were deeply ingrained in Xiao Gui's heart. The power in your body, don't use it all before you figure it out. And don't worry, as for me, my big brother, I can't let you cry in vain. Besides, it's just a 4-star Do Xian consummation. Although half of your foot touches the field, you don't need to use all your strength. Seeing this, Xiaoyan slowly patted Xiao Gui with his hands and said with a smile. Xiaoyan could vaguely sense that Xiao Gui had obtained a lot of good things from the demon suppression prison, and he seemed to have the power left behind by his parents in his body, which probably existed to protect him. The power, at least the existence of the 5-star fighting immortal level, if all attracted, the Xiao clan pattern will be completely exposed, and the safety of Xiao Gui will be in an extremely dangerous situation. Furthermore, a 4-star fighting immortal is complete. At this time, Xiaoyan can handle it with all his strength. Although it is quite laborious, and Xiaoyan also wants to try it, after he casts the flame-swallowing technique, can he survive it? If it is possible to integrate the Buddha's Fury Lotus, I am afraid that Xiaoyan's combat power will break through the sky. Boom! At the moment when the two were talking, the void where the three were in suddenly exploded, and immediately the three figures appeared in the kilometer of ice. The ice attribute on this guy is worthy of being the great heaven seed of the ice element. Xiaoyan looked at Luo Menglin's body in front of him, and couldn't help but be surprised. Obviously, the power of the great heaven seed of this level has already matched his own. Fei Yan was on a par, but Xiaoyan was extremely curious about Xiao Gui's attributes. Xiaoyan is a combination of human blood and ghosts, so he not only has ghost qi, but also has the attributes of human fighting qi. However, Xiaoyan has never seen it from beginning to end, and even Xiao Gui does not know his other fighting qi. What property? Hey! At that time, a wave of white mist ripples suddenly spread out from Luo Menglin in the ice layer to the surrounding, and suddenly this 1,000-meter ice layer, one after another cracks, burst out from the bottom with a bang. Wang buzzing! In an instant, at the top of Lingshan Mountain, bursts of extremely strange thunderclouds also burst forth. 4-star fighting immortal tribulation. As long as you successfully survive the 4-star fighting immortal tribulation, you can truly step into the 4-star fighting immortal. What a terrifying battle of immortals. After a few breaths, Xiaoyan's eyes also penetrated the endless white mist of Lingshan, and he looked at the strange thunderclouds exuding destruction waves in the sky. The color of the thunderclouds was white, which was exactly the same as Luo Menglin's icy fighting qi, but those white thunderclouds kept rolling. Every time they rolled, thunderstorms with a size of hundreds of meters suddenly exploded, obviously preparing for an extremely tyrannical offensive. Attempt to obliterate Luo Menglin with one blow. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the body of a soul beast on the top of the Lingshan Mountain erupted with an extremely violent aura. Immediately, the immortal fighting tribulation in the sky was slowly shaken by such aura. Scattered. Such a tyrannical battle of immortals, won't it just go away? Although he knew that the Lingshan space was special, Xiaoyan was surprised when he watched the white thunderclouds slowly disappearing above the sky. Shabu shabu! Kacha kacha! With the complete disappearance of the thundercloud, there were bursts of shattering sounds under the frozen lake in the 1,000-meter ice layer. Then a figure was smashed by countless ice. Surrounded by force, slowly walked out of the ice. Successful. Luo Menglin's easy breakthrough was naturally due to Xiao Gui's immortal fighting pill and the mysterious soul beast shell at the top of Lingshan. Just after the breakthrough was successful, he ran towards Xiao Gui, her eyes beating, very happy. Big man, thank you, I succeeded. A sweet voice slowly appeared in the ice layer, and then Xiao Gui and Luo Menglin's bodies hugged tightly. This is my eldest brother, the guy who just led away the ice demon swordsman, hee hee. Xiao Gui first absorbed a tangy scent, then let go of it reluctantly, and then introduced it to Luo Menglin. Hello, my name is Luo Menglin. Luo Menglin was shocked when she saw this, but then she said to Xiaoyan politely, but at this time, he obviously did not have the leisure to pay attention to Xiaoyan, and focused on Xiao Gui. Body. I'll go first, I won't delay you anymore. After Xiao Yan finished speaking, he also left directly, leaving behind Xiao Gui and Luo Menglin. The two also communicated in a low voice, and agreed on a day to heal the wound and cold, so they slowly left Lingshan, but this simple trip to Lingshan made Xiao Gui and Luo Menglin create a rather wonderful relationship. During this trip, Xiao Gui did not gain anything, and was even eroded by the cold air and lost a Do Xian Dan, but he captured the heart of the little princess in this spiritual courtyard. Continuing from the previous episode 1547. XUUU. Xiao Yan left Lingshan directly and returned to the Lingyuan alone. The Earth Spirit Court is divided into the Earth Court and the Spirit Court, but both belong to the same family and belong to the vast and boundless area of the Earth Spirit Court. Therefore, the high-level officials of the Earth Spirit Court decided to divide this area into 3 divisions: upper, middle and lower. Govern. Among them, the Earth Court occupies a dominant position, located in the most fertile south of the Earth Spirit Court, while the Spirit Court is located in the north. As for the territory in the middle, there are countless creatures and forces living under the shelter of the Earth Spirit Court. The core of the Lingyuan exists in the center of this incomparably huge city where Xiao Yan is at this time, and this city is full of traffic, and its overall area is so huge that Xiao Yan is stunned. It also shows the depth of Lingyuan's heritage. Even the bustling level of the city is far beyond Xiao Yan's imagination. Here, whether it is a drug market or a downtown, the level of liveliness is second to none. In addition, there are millions of creatures living in the city. Among these creatures, there are many human beings, and even some ghosts that are just souls. But even so, under the protection of the Spiritual Academy, they also live together in peace and harmony. I don't know how to practice and experience in this Spiritual Academy. Xiao Yan had just returned to his residence and tried to find Di Lao, but was told by his senior brother in the Spiritual Academy that Di Lao had not returned from his trip. You can only leave the residence and walk around the city. The Lingyuan exists in the center of the city, but Xiao Yan's residence is only on the edge of the city center, and has not yet joined the Lingyuan. After all, the Lingyuan is heavily guarded, and the new disciples are not led by the headmaster. It is easy to get lost, so Xiao Yan simply prepared to visit this city first. The tea house. Just right. After a while, Xiao came to a tea house called Piaoshanglo, and he walked in slowly and sat down. Now that he has just arrived at this unfamiliar place, he naturally wanted to know the details first. Inquire clearly as well. Whenever people come and go, such as tea houses and taverns, it is often the easiest place for information to circulate. As for the identity of the alchemist, Xiao Yan does not want to reveal it. If the alchemist ID card is exposed, I am afraid that Xiao Yan will lose a lot of free time. Hey, I don't know if you heard about it. After a while, Xiao Yan just sat down, and suddenly someone on the other wooden tables said loudly. What is it? On the wooden tables, there were a tall fat man and 2 men in scholarly costumes. As soon as the fat man finished speaking, the other 2 thin men also cast their eyes and asked. It is said that the acacia tree located in the middle of our Earth Spirit Academy is about to appear. Fatih picked up the tea set in his palm, finished drinking it, and said boldly. Acacia tree? When Xiao Yan heard the words, he couldn't help but lose his voice. Obviously, these few words shocked Xiao Yan. Acacia tree and acacia bronchitis have quite the same name. Is there any connection between them? After all, Xiao Yan's top priority now is not only to restore the power of his master, the Soul Eater, but also to find acacia broken heart inflammation. This little brother looks quite raw. Fatih laughed when he saw this. But what you don't know is that this acacia tree is said to be a strange tree that was transformed by the lifelong efforts and souls of a desperate couple. It is said that if you make a wish under the acacia tree, you can grow old together. What's more, there is an extremely small chance to enter the inner space of the acacia tree. There are many legends in the inner space of the acacia tree. Treasures, even martial arts and fighting skills. However, since it was recorded, there is only one person who has entered the inner space of the acacia tree. Fatih smiled kindly, and his voice was full of yearning. I don't know who it is. Xiao Yan suddenly became interested. Obviously, this acacia tree is probably not as simple as it seems. Master of the Spiritual Academy. Fatih's eyes slowly turned, and after looking around, he said, Obviously, the master of the spiritual academy seems to contain some kind of terrifying magic power. Master of the spiritual academy? Xiaoyan was even more surprised. Not to mention the wonders of this acacia tree, the strength of the head of the spiritual academy alone. I am afraid that it has reached the point of Tongzhan, so powerful, I am afraid. Hey, I've heard a little about the head of the spiritual academy. It is said that the master of the Lingyuan is a human, but he fell in love with a ghost world woman who is only in the state of a soul body, and the ghosts in the ghost world, if they want to be completely resurrected and transformed into humans, they must gather 7 souls and 6 souls to complete them. The soul body, and the use of special methods to refine the body, can truly be reborn as a human. The head of the spiritual house has searched for countless methods for this, but he is unable to help his beloved wife to refine the body. One time, the acacia tree came, and the master of the spiritual academy went to find a way to hide from his beloved wife. By chance, he entered the inner space of the acacia tree. No one knew what he experienced, but he came from the inner space of the acacia tree after coming out. It is a retreat, and after leaving the retreat, his beloved wife has successfully transformed into a real human being. And his beloved wife is said to be quite special. The general method of refining the body is useless to her, and even the head of the Lingyuan has dispatched his personal connections in the entire soul realm for this purpose, and there is no solution, so I concluded. There should be something mysterious in the space inside the acacia tree. The 2 scholars also smiled. And now, the news of the imminent arrival of the acacia tree will probably spread throughout the entire spiritual academy. At that time, the spiritual academy and the factions in the middle of the realm will probably be fighting for another battle. Fatih said slowly, "Listen to you. This acacia tree is so mysterious, why do you want to spread the news?" Xiaoyan asked with some doubts. Hey, the acacia tree is mysterious, but its attraction to ghosts is fatal. After all, every ghost wants to gather their own 7 souls and 6 souls to refine their body and be reborn as a human. However, under the acacia tree, there is a very special kind of acacia power, and that kind of power cannot be resisted. Only those who have deep love in their hearts can resist, otherwise they cannot get close to the acacia tree within a kilometer, let alone the acacia. The interior space of the tree. So those of us, although we yearn for it, have no fate. After all, the power of lovesickness cannot be resisted. If we rush into it, I'm afraid it will only increase casualties. After the fat man finished speaking, there was a trace of regret in his eyes. Is that so? Xiaoyan heard the words, nodded slowly, then drank the tea in his palm and left here immediately. Acacia tree. I remember that this acacia tree and acacia broken enteritis came from the same vein. Could it be that I remembered it wrong? As Xiaoyan left, the voice of the soul eater suddenly sounded in his heart. The acacia tree is about to come. It seems that I have to hurry up. After all, I rashly took out the acacia and broken enteritis from the acacia tree and divided them into 2 places. The power of the acacia cremonitis has gradually weakened. I hope that what I have all this is done, right? At the same time, in the highest void of Li Soul realm, the figure of Li Soul Lord also appeared in his own temple and spoke slowly. As soon as the voice fell, a pink flame suddenly jumped on the palm of the hand, like an elf. It seemed to want to escape the claws of the Lord of Li Soul, but it was completely surrounded by countless sinister patterns. Continuing from the previous episode 1548. As Xiaoyan returned to his residence, Xiaogui also returned safely, but when Xiaoyan saw Xiaogui, he found this guy with a smirk, and he didn't know what happened. After a while, Xiaoyan asked about it and it was fine. After all, the wounds on Xiaogui's body had been temporarily suppressed by Luo Menglin, and they had agreed to meet in a few days to completely exorcise Xiaogui, so Xiaoyan did not have too many medicinal pills. Go straight back to rest, because the disciples of the spiritual academy have already come to inform them that tomorrow, the old master will personally receive them into the spiritual academy, so Xiaoyan is not in a hurry at this time. The scorching sun was in the sky, and in other areas of the spiritual academy, there were quite shocking things happening one after another. The Earth Spirit Court is the southernmost of the boundaries, where the Earth Court is located. Above a mountain range where the energy of heaven and earth is extremely rich and quite mysterious. Di Lao, what wind brought you here? A gust of breeze blew, and suddenly Di Lao's figure flickered out of the distance like lightning, and a man on the ground below smiled slowly. The man is gentle and elegant, with a refined aura, like a poetic scholar who is full of poetry and books, with a high air between his eyebrows and the strength that is faintly revealed. He actually has a 4-star Xiaoshan perfection level, but terrifying enough. Here, it is clearly a paradise. A piece of peach trees are emerging, the flowering period is in full bloom, surrounded by crystal clear water, and in the peach forest, trails emerge, such a place with rich energy and beautiful scenery. It is clearly the earth, a resting place for some old monsters in the courtyard. Is Headmaster Ling here? Seeing this disciple, Di Lao opened his mouth slightly. My father is in the peach forest, the old man please. After finishing speaking, the young man Ling Yu made a gesture of invitation, and then slowly backed away. Di Lao heard the words, nodded slowly, and then opened his legs and walked towards Taolin. Old D, I don't know about the marriage between the kid and Miss Luo Menglin. Can Headmaster Luo Zamu agree? In an instant, when Di Lao passed by him, Ling Yu couldn't help asking. I don't know about this, wait until I turn around and ask Lao Luo. After Di Lao finished speaking, he also slowly disappeared in front of Ling Yu, frowning as he spoke. Obviously he was not optimistic about this matter either. Damn bastard. Ling Yu scolded secretly when he saw Di Lao's disappearing figure. Luo Menglin, do you think this young master will really like a fool like you? If it wasn't for the news that Luo Zamu was in control of a certain holy flame, how could this young master bow down and ask the Lord of Li Sol to give me marriage? I don't know why the powerhouses of the extraterritorial evil people want us to collect holy flames. Isn't holy flame their strongest nemesis? Susu. As he spoke, a dark pattern appeared between Ling Yu's eyebrows. At the moment when the dark pattern appeared, it was as if his whole body was plunged into boundless hell. If this kind of aura existed, Xiaoyan would be surprised to find out that this is clearly the mark of the evil power lines given to human beings by the powerhouses of the extraterritorial evil race, which is similar in nature to the crime of serving the extraterrestrial evil race, but I don't know why Ling Yu is on his body. Possessed, to know his talent, his status, even in the entire Earth Spirit Academy, is undoubtedly the top. Old ghost of Earth Spirit, you are still in such a hurry. Suddenly, an elegant pavilion slowly appeared in the center of the peach forest. The two men in brocade clothes sat quietly and said with a smile. The two were sitting in the pavilion at the moment. Chess game. The two men were about middle-aged, and their black hair looked particularly energetic, and their whole body revealed an extremely majestic aura, which was as shocking as mountains and rivers. Master Ling and Master I. Seeing this, the old ghost of Earth Spirit smiled slowly and stepped into the pavilion. Let's talk. What's the matter this time? Headmaster Ling looked at the arrival of the old ghost of the Earth Spirit, and suddenly stopped the movement in his hand, looked at it, and asked. In the middle of the boundary of the Earth Spirit Academy, the Acacia tree is about to appear. After a while, the old ghost of Earth Spirit said earnestly, as if there were words in his words. Oh, Acacia tree? When Headmaster Ling heard the words, there was a strange sound in his voice, and he was surprised. Acacia tree. Old man remembers that it is a rare divine tree. Back then, the head of your spiritual academy benefited a lot from it, although we didn't know what the acacia tree had inside. Headmaster I beside him was quite envious. The headmaster is in charge of the large and small matters in their respective courtyards, and the so-called principal and vice principal are in seclusion all day long. Unless the courtyard is in danger, he will not show up easily. Therefore, in the underground courtyard and the spiritual courtyard, this is the way to go. Several headmasters are the highest decision-making. The acacia tree is here. I don't know why you came here, old ghost, Earth Spirit. After a while, Headmaster Ling smiled slowly. I'm here because I want Headmaster Ling to restrain his disciples and not step into the realm of the acacia tree. This time, it's our spirit court's turn. The old ghost of Earth Spirit also smiled lightly. Hey, old ghost of the Earth Spirit, what you said is wrong. The spiritual objects of heaven and earth are obtained by those who are destined, and the value of the acacia tree is rumored to be extremely mysterious. Your trip may be in vain. On the side the headmaster laughed. Oh, is that so? In an instant, an extremely terrifying vindictive energy poured into the pavilion like a vast ocean from the old ghost of the Earth Spirit. In an instant, the world was lost, and even countless people in the peach forest were lost. The peach blossoms also shivered. 7 stars fighting immortals? How is that possible? Upon realizing this scene, Headmaster I said in a trembling voice. Never mind. This time, let the acacia tree be given to you in the spiritual court. I will restrict all the disciples of our underground courtyard from participating, but although we do not participate, it is not guaranteed that some sect forces living under our protection will meet. Go, Headmaster Ling said with a smile. If that's the case, then I would like to thank Headmaster Ling. Farewell. After a while, the old ghost of the earth spirit flickered when he saw that his goal was achieved, and slowly disappeared here. Sect Master Ling, the strength of this old ghost of the earth spirit has actually reached the level of the 7-star fighting immortal, which is 2. After a while, as the old ghost of the earth spirit disappeared completely, I Wang also said earnestly. Among the 3 headmasters in the Ling Yuan, only Zhang Wen's strength barely reached the half-step 7-star fighting immortal, but now the strength of the earth spirit old ghost has broken through the 7-star fighting immortal, which surprised them greatly. After all, even in their entire underground courtyard, although the 3 headmasters are all 7-star fighting immortals, the strength of 7-star fighting immortals has become a real power, so they have to pay attention to it. The old ghost of the earth spirit and Razamu have a good relationship, and their origins are quite mysterious, so they must not be irritated. Besides, the resources collected by our courtyard are too many, so let's give it to the spirit courtyard this time. Go on, the disciples of the underground courtyard, don't get involved in the acacia tree, or the courtyard will deal with it. At that time, a majestic voice resounded throughout the peach forest. Continuing from the previous episode 1549, the scorching sun disappeared in a blink of an eye, and that night, in the earth spirit court, the night was always bone-chilling. In the Ling Yuan courtyard, the residence of Headmaster Luo Zamu. Shabu. At this time, under the shroud of the night, a shadow moved slowly and ran straight towards the courtyard, hiding as if he was deliberately avoiding someone. That's great, old ancestor Luo is not here. It's worth it for me to walk around outside during the day until I dare to come back at night. The dark eyes swept slowly, looking at just a few guards in charge of patrolling in front of them. Immediately laughed. Menglan, did you come back so late? The next moment, a loving voice suddenly sounded. It's broken, it's broken. After a while, the shadow Luo Menglan couldn't care less, her speed skyrocketed, and she ran directly to her wing. You troublemaker, come here. A cold snort sounded, and Luo Menglan's voice was immediately grabbed by an invisible big hand, and suddenly came to the stone table in the courtyard. At this time, Luo Zamu slowly sat on the edge of the stone table, and Luo Menglan also appeared here with a slightly dissatisfied corner of his mouth. Ancestor Luo, it's so late, what are you looking for from me? The moon is dark and the wind is high, and the night is cold. Ancestor Luo should pay attention to his body. I will go to the house to pick up a robe and put it on the ancestor. Luo Menglan's big watery eyes kept rolling, and she said to herself, trying to escape. Here. Oh, your strength? The next moment, Luo Zamud's expression became strange. In Lingshan, I was lucky enough to break through to the 4-star fighting immortal. Luo Menglan said truthfully, 4-star fighting immortals. It's very good, very good. Looking at Luo Menglan, Luo Zamu smiled slowly in his heart, and then some strange thoughts flashed in his heart. Okay, don't bother. Isn't it because of Ling Yu's forced marriage? If you don't want to, just push it directly, you don't need to hide like this. After a while, Luo Zamu smiled directly at Luo Menglan who was pretending to be reserved in front of him. Ah! When Luo Menglan heard the words, she couldn't believe it. You must know that back then, Ling Yu and his father, Headmaster Ling, forced the Lord of Souls and him to marry him, and his ancestor was quite happy, but his attitude was completely different from today's. What's wrong? Luo Zamu smiled as he saw the woman's body in front of him slowly becoming stiff and standing on the stone table. Fine, thank you ancestor, but if I push this marriage like this, will it have any effect on you? After a short while, Luo Menglan also bit her lips and said, Yes, yes, but don't worry, and you, the old ghost and ancestor, protect you, even if they are unconvinced, I'm afraid they can only endure it. Razamu smiled. Yeah. Luo Menglan nodded happily when she heard the words. She has not known her parents since she was born, and only Ancestor Luo and Ancestor of Earth Spirit are fond of her. Since your strength has reached the 4-star Do Xian, there is no need to hide some things from you. Come with me. After a few breaths, Luo Zamu looked at the void, then slowly got up and walked towards the core of the courtyard. Isn't that where our Luo family's ancestral hall is located? Could it be that the ancestor is hiding something from me? Although there were some doubts in his heart, Luo Menglin followed carefully. Luo's ancestral hall. The four characters appeared brilliantly in front of Luo Menglin. Luo Menglin remembered clearly that this ancestral hall was the most mysterious existence in their mansion. It was heavily guarded, and no one was allowed to approach it. Born creatures. The law of all things. Resolve. As soon as I came to the ancestral hall, a tyrannical prohibition that was isolated from the world emerged around the ancestral hall. Then, on the palm of Luo Zamu, a trace of gray-white energy slowly appeared in the hand, passing through the complex handprint of the ancestor, which was injected into the gate of the ancestral hall. Boom! With a loud noise, Luo Zamu and Luo Menglin's bodies suddenly turned into a strong light, pouring into the interior of the ancestral hall. Ancestor, this. Just came to the inside of the ancestral hall, looking at the hundreds of spiritual tablets in front of him. A heavy touch suddenly emerged from the heart. Obviously, these spiritual tablets were established after the fall of the strong in their Luo clan. And what surprised Luo Menglin the most was that these spirit cards were filled with traces of strange gray-white energy. These energies did not have any attributes, but intuition told Luo Menglin that these gray-white energies were absolutely extraordinary. Our Luo clan has been in the ghost world for hundreds of years. When I first came to the ghost world, I was still just a nobody. With the blessing of my ancestors, I became who I am today. Luo Zamu bowed respectfully to the hundreds of spirit tablets in front of him and said, Ancestor. Luo Menglin also said softly, but the ghost world is not our original place of residence after all. There are ghosts and conspiracies here, so we should return to our homeland and return to our hometown. Luo Zamu looked at the spiritual card in front of him and took care of himself. Said from hunger. And our hometown is the sky silver continent under the human world. After a while, Luo Zamu said solemnly, Tianian continent? Luo Menglin seemed a little shocked when she heard the words. Menglin, every day from now on, you must come to this clan's ancestral hall to worship these spiritual cards, and the gray-white power on the spiritual cards must be absorbed day by day until you absorb all of these powers, and I will do it for you. Get rid of the forced marriage, so as to get out of the ghost world and go back to our hometown. After a while, Luo Zamu said solemnly, Yes, Patriarch. Luo Menglin was ecstatic when she heard the words, and immediately agreed. Let's start, today is the first day. After Luo Zamu finished speaking, he also slowly backed out. Crash! As Luo Zamu left, Luo Menglin knelt down on the futon with her knees, and the dazzling ice battle chi emerged from her body, and then silently chanted some pilgrimage incantations in her heart. It's just that even Luo Menglin didn't realize that with her actions, the gray-white energy on those spirit cards actually shook slowly, and then entered her body at a very slow speed. This kind of gray-white energy is quite special, and it doesn't seem to have any power, but if Xiaoshan was here, he would have discovered that this gray-white energy turned out to be holy power. The so-called holy power is an existence that prepares for the absorption of holy flames, similar to the medicinal pill Xiaoshan prepared to devour holy flames, but this holy power can only be guarded by holy flames, only then will it be born, and absorb so much holy energy. I am afraid that in the future, it will be able to easily absorb the corresponding holy flame. Is it all done? After a while, outside the ancestral hall, Luo Zamu was finally relieved. Just walking, a question came from the void. Yep. Then Xiaoshan has a holy flame ranked 35, but the holy flame guarded by our Luo clan is far too tyrannical. This time, at least a few years, as many as decades, as long as Menglin has absorbed the holy power that devoured the holy flame, I will leave the ghost world, go back to my hometown, and let her really devour the holy flame. Luo Zamu whispered, That's fine. This girl has a poor background, and I promised her parents to protect her, so I'll go back with you when the time comes. After a while, the old ghost of Earth Spirit also laughed. You. Luo Zamu was also surprised when he heard the words. Okay, that's it. With some time left, I will carefully teach this guy with holy flames. I always feel that this guy is not easy. By the way, the scope of actions of Sin and the Foreign Evil clan has been a little wider recently, so be careful. As soon as the voice fell, the old ghost of the earth spirit also disappeared here.